For over a decade, Rick Ross and 50 Cent kept their beef at a distance. Interviews, captions, jokes, and insults. But in June 2024, something changed. In Vancouver, this rivalry stopped looking like rap and started looking real. Footage surfaced, punches were thrown, and suddenly Drake quietly chose a side. Rick Ross played it cool, 50 Cent smelled blood, and what happened next turned an old feud into one of the most uncomfortable moments in hip-hop that year, because this wasn't just about music anymore. The date was June 30th, 2024. The location was Vancouver, Canada, a city on the country's western coast, far from Toronto geographically, yet still widely viewed as part of Drake's home country territory. The occasion was the Ignite Music Festival, which should have been a routine stop on Rick Ross's extensive tour schedule. Another performance, another crowd, another night. But instead, the events of that evening sparked controversy, reignited old feuds, and created viral moments that echoed throughout hip-hop culture. Rick Ross had just finished his set. The audience was engaged, the energy was strong, and by most accounts, the performance itself ended without issues. But as Ross exited the stage, a decision was made, either by his DJ or with Ross's approval, that shifted the atmosphere entirely. Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us began playing through the speakers. The song, which had already become one of the most talked about diss tracks of the year, was closely associated with Drake's very public feud with Kendrick. Playing that track in Canada during a Ross appearance was widely interpreted as provocative. Whether it was intentional or not, the message was unmistakable. What happened next was captured on video and quickly spread across social media platforms. The footage is shaky and chaotic, but the tension is clear. As Ross moved through the venue, a group of men gathered around him and his team. Someone can be heard demanding that the song be turned off. Voices were raised. The atmosphere shifted into confrontation within seconds. According to the video, a punch was thrown in Ross's direction, and chaos followed. Ross's security appeared overwhelmed, and one individual, believed to be part of his team, was struck multiple times while on the ground. The clip spread rapidly, fueling debate, memes, and speculation. Within hours, the incident dominated online conversations. What added another layer was Drake's reaction. He liked a video of the altercation posted on Instagram, accompanied by a caption referencing Canada as his territory. While not a direct statement, the interaction was widely interpreted as approval. For many viewers, it symbolized how far the relationship between Drake and Rick Ross had deteriorated. Ross responded publicly by minimizing the situation. On Instagram, he posted a photo in front of his private jet with the caption, "Vancouver, it was fun. Till next time." Speaking with TMZ, he said no one on his team suffered serious injuries and described Vancouver as a beautiful city he looked forward to visiting again. Then Curtis Jackson entered the discussion, and when 50 Cent gets involved, especially where Rick Ross is concerned, the tone always shifts. For more than 15 years, their rivalry has remained one of hip-hop's most persistent and personal feuds. Any perceived setback involving Ross has often been followed by commentary from 50, and this situation was no exception.
Guys, I just saw a very unfortunate situation that took place in Canada. And I wanted to say to everyone, that I hope that brother made it home safely. I hope that he now has a different perspective and a better sense of what to do and what not to do while you're out in the world, That part where the young guy was like, he did this little move and got knocked the f out, like right there. That does not reflect him. That reflects his camp, and he might need to go get the Dream Chasers.
One video, delivered with a straight face before 50 burst into laughter, captured his trademark approach. His reference to Meek Mill's Dream Chasers label carried extra weight given Ross's role as Meek's longtime mentor and label head. 50 followed up by posting another clip showing Ross leaving the scene, captioned "The Great Escape," adding lyrics that mocked the situation. The trolling was deliberate and sustained. At Ottawa Blues Fest on July 6, 2024, 50 Cent addressed the incident directly on stage. Speaking to the crowd, he joked about what happened in Vancouver and scanned the audience theatrically, pretending to identify who was responsible. While framed humorously, the comments clearly referenced the viral footage. He later posted another video praising the reception he received in Canada, continuing to mock the situation alongside Uncle Murda. The commentary didn't stop there. When 50 performed in Toronto on July 21st, he again referenced the incident, thanking the crowd for making him feel at home before joking about what had happened to Ross. Each mention reinforced how fully 50 leaned into the moment.
And there are a lot of things you can say about 50. I truly appreciate. Like, there are times when I think he goes too far. There are times when I think there's some people that I'm like, why do you get involved in that? But when it comes to the people that he has legitimate, long-standing beef with, I actually respect the level of never getting off their neck. I really do.
Pettiness. Petty.
Rick Ross eventually addressed the situation during an Instagram Live on July 4th. In classic Ross fashion, he offered a version of events that differed from what viewers believed they saw. He insisted he was never punched and described confronting someone verbally before being hit with a drink. While the footage appeared to contradict parts of his account, Ross remained committed to his narrative. Whether audiences accepted his explanation or not, he presented it confidently, blending humor with bravado, something that has long defined his public persona. The situation escalated further when Ross's ex, Tia Kemp, became involved. The aftermath of the Vancouver incident opened the door for long-standing grievances to resurface. Kemp went live on Instagram shortly after, openly criticizing Ross and mocking his handling of the situation. Her comments were personal, unfiltered, and quickly circulated online, adding fuel to an already volatile moment. Things intensified again on July 1st when Drake posted photos celebrating Canada Day. Tia Kemp commented on the post, and Drake responded with a heart emoji and a compliment. The interaction did not go unnoticed.
I guess Drake ended up liking one of the videos, and then Rick Ross is the mother of his son. Tia Kemp jumps in, and then, in the comments, and then Drake responds to her, calling her my goat. Is that what he said, Cass One?
Yeah, that's what he said. He called her
goat?
My goat. Yeah, this was like emojis and stuff.
Ross replied in the comments with remarks that referenced diss track allegations and included a personal insult toward Kemp. While framed as online banter, the exchange highlighted how fractured the once close relationship between Ross and Drake had become. To understand the weight of this fallout, it's important to look at their shared history. Rick Ross and Drake were once frequent collaborators, responsible for several major records together: Aston Martin Music, Lord Knows, Stay Scheming, and Money in the Grave, among others. Their chemistry in the studio was undeniable, and at one point, they even planned a joint album titled YOLO that never materialized. Beyond music, there were public displays of friendship that suggested genuine mutual respect. As recently as May 2023, Ross appeared on Drink Champs describing his relationship with Drake as close, praising their creative abilities. Less than a year later, tensions erupted publicly. The conflict escalated after Drake's diss track, Push-Ups, leaked in April 2024. Though primarily aimed at Kendrick Lamar, the song included pointed lines directed at Ross, referencing his past and questioning his success. From longtime alliances to public confrontations, the Vancouver incident marked a visible turning point, not just for Rick Ross and Drake, but for a network of relationships shaped by pride, loyalty, and long memory in hip-hop. Spend that little check you got and stay out of my business. The implication behind those words landed hard. It suggested that without Drake's features, Rick Ross would fade into irrelevance, that his success was borrowed, and that he should understand his position. Ross responded the very same day with Champagne Moments, recorded and released within hours of Drake's track leaking. It was a striking mix of speed, competitiveness, and calculated response. Ross aimed directly at Drake's public image, repeatedly questioning his authenticity, accusing the Toronto rapper of borrowing stylistic elements from Lil Wayne and alleging that Drake had altered his appearance through cosmetic procedures, claims that were never independently verified and were framed as insults rather than facts. From that exchange, the nickname BBL Drizzy emerged, referencing a cosmetic surgery rumor Ross pushed publicly. Ross leaned into the moment, even wearing a shirt featuring Drake's face while performing the diss record in clubs. Drake responded privately, sending text messages to his mother explaining that Ross was acting erratically and mocking Ross's performance bookings. Ross later shared those screenshots online, ridiculing Drake for involving his family. According to Ross, the situation escalated after Drake allegedly sent a cease and desist letter to French Montana, a claim Ross referenced directly in Champagne Moments, portraying it as an overreaction and betrayal. Later, on the Carisha Please podcast with Young Miami, Ross addressed both the Vancouver incident and his strained relationship with Drake. When asked whether reconciliation was possible, Ross answered casually, saying it depended on his mood and circumstances, adding that he wasn't losing sleep over the situation. Ross also explained why his crew was outnumbered during the Vancouver situation, stating that several close associates were unable to travel due to prior convictions. He suggested that the lack of familial support contributed to how events unfolded, framing it as a matter of logistics rather than intent.
You know that wasn't true. Anybody that knows Curtis, he knows he's the police himself. It's footage of the GS9 homies pressing him when he was just in New York. He had more cops than goddamn Donald Trump. But more importantly, it's not even about that. That's his business. At the same time, y'all just better realize that man been playing with y'all, joking and all that. Man ain't on that. That man's situation, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know him like that. But as far as I'm concerned, he been the victim his whole life.
The long-running conflict with 50 Cent is another story entirely. Many casual observers misunderstood 50 Cent's reaction after the Vancouver footage surfaced, viewing it as random trolling. In reality, it was simply the latest chapter in one of hip-hop's longest and most personal rivalries, a feud that has simmered, exploded, cooled, and reignited repeatedly for nearly 15 years. To understand why 50 Cent responded so aggressively, dedicating performances, social media posts, and commentary to mocking Ross, one has to understand the history between Curtis Jackson and William Roberts. That history is so layered, personal, and persistent that it has become legendary within hip-hop culture. According to Ross's own account, the tension began at the 2008 BET Hip Hop Awards, where he felt disrespected by the way 50 Cent looked at him. 50 Cent later claimed he didn't even remember seeing Ross that night. Whether true or dismissive, that response only deepened the resentment. In January 2009, Ross released Mafia Music, which included lines aimed at 50 Cent's personal life, referencing a past domestic dispute involving 50's former partner, a sensitive topic that had already been publicly documented. 50 responded by mocking Ross's past employment as a correctional officer, a background that had been publicly reported in 2008. What followed went far beyond traditional rap exchanges. 50 Cent launched a multi-platform campaign that included animated skits portraying Ross as a corrections officer rather than the larger-than-life figure described in his music. He also featured interviews with individuals connected to Ross's past, including Tia Kemp, who publicly confirmed Ross's former job and criticized his image. 50 Cent escalated further by appearing outside locations connected to Ross's circle, a move interpreted by many as intimidation. The most controversial moment came when a private, intimate video involving the mother of Ross's child was leaked with commentary added, an act widely criticized as invasive and unethical. The conflict stopped being about music and became psychological warfare. 50 Cent wasn't simply competing lyrically, he was attempting to dismantle Ross's public persona entirely. That decision had serious consequences. The woman involved filed a lawsuit, and after years in court, a jury awarded her $7 million in damages for emotional distress and invasion of privacy. The financial impact contributed to 50 Cent filing for bankruptcy protection in 2015, a fact Ross's supporters often cite when assessing who truly won the feud. 50 later pursued legal action against members of his own legal team, alleging mishandling of the case and suggesting that Ross was responsible for the leak, claims that were never conclusively proven. Over the years, the feud resurfaced repeatedly. In 2013, when Ross survived a drive-by shooting on his birthday, 50 Cent publicly suggested the incident was staged, a claim that Ross strongly denied. In 2023, 50 mocked the sales of Too Good to Be True, Ross and Meek Mill's joint album. Ross responded by questioning 50's ownership of his music catalog, striking at the core of 50's business legacy. Ross has explained his mindset toward the rivalry, describing it as a long-term chess match rather than a battle that required immediate victory, about endurance, positioning, and survival rather than domination. The Drake fallout only complicated things further. DJ Khaled, a close collaborator with Drake, Ross, and even 50 Cent, found himself in an uncomfortable position. His career had been built on unity and collaboration, producing hits like I'm On One and No New Friends, songs that now felt like relics of a different era.
Yo, where does this put Khaled?
In an awkward place.
Yeah. In
Like
a very
Khaled-
awkward place.
Khaled could
Khaled-
never. I wonder if he could broker a peace ever. And there's no chance?
Maybe. We don't know. Let's see. Khaled is about love.
In September 2025, Khaled addressed the situation on the Joe and Jada podcast. His response avoided conflict entirely. He emphasized love, loyalty, and staying out of negative energy, expressing hope that reconciliation could still happen. Khaled positioned himself as someone willing to help repair relationships, stating that miscommunication played a major role and that faith made reconciliation possible. Whether that optimism proves realistic remains uncertain. As for 50 Cent and Rick Ross, their feud appears unresolved. After 15 years of lawsuits, public ridicule, financial fallout, and viral moments, neither has shown signs of stepping back.
Now, the other day we were talking, and Charlamagne was saying that if 50 and Ross could squash their beef, they could make great music together.
Not even just great music. I feel like you two are like incredible people, like characters, like very entertaining. Like I think y'all could make just something very entertaining together.
I don't think it would ever happen.
Between the Vancouver incident, the Drake fallout, and his ongoing conflict with 50 Cent, Rick Ross now operates in a landscape filled with tension. Former partners criticize him publicly, longtime rivals use performances to revisit past humiliations, yet Ross continues to present himself as unaffected, publicly claiming he loses no sleep, enjoying luxury, success, and status. Whether that confidence is genuine or carefully maintained is a question that has followed William Leonard Roberts II for years, the former correctional officer who became Rick Ross, the biggest boss. 15 years into a rivalry with Curtis Jackson and months into a new conflict with Drake, Ross continues to insist he remains unbothered. Meanwhile, footage from Vancouver continues to circulate, and 50 Cent continues to reference it on stage, reinforcing in his own way that the feud is far from over.